For the past 3 seasons, Loudon, New Hampshire has had the honor and privilege of launching the chase for the Nascar Nextel Cup, and this season the field is as strong as it ever been. It's been expanded to 12 drivers, and among those 12 drivers are 5 former champions, and to make the field just a little bit stronger, all but 3 wins this season have come from chase contenders. Add in the fact that 7 of those 12 drivers have won at Loudon, New Hampshire before, and this chase should be off to one heck of a start. When Dale Earnhardt Jr. announced that he was moving out of the company his father started, Martin Truex Jr. decided it was time to move up. He responded by winning his first career race at Dover, Delaware, and then raced his way into the chase for the Nextel Cup. And that earned him the praise and support of his longtime friend and very famous teammate. For Truex, the whole scenario is a dream come true. Not too long ago, he was earning money to race by digging for clams in New Jersey. And he's not content to just make the chase. He wants to be a contender, and he feels his team can win some of the next few races. Martin Truex Jr. now has the weight of his team on his shoulders as he carries the DEI banner into the chase. And the way the championship run is set up, any of the 12 drivers in the chase has a shot at winning.
On their feet, here they come for the green flag. Remember, you get 5 points to lead a single lap. 5 more if you can lead the most laps. Clint Boyer in the 07 car is the bottom car in the chase. He wants to get these 5 points by leading lap 1.
Yeah, he got a big jump in that restart, guys. He jumped out front, a car and a half lead over Kurt Busch right now, and it looks like coming off of turn 4, he's going to be the guy who leads the first lap and gets those very important 5 points.
You have to think these guys, all these guys, these top 3 are racing hard for those 5 bonus points. I see Kurt Busch here driving hard up in the corner.
And one thing you got to remember here, guys, this track is very, very loose early on in the race. A lot of slipping and sliding. It's going to take about 10 or 12 laps before the handling starts coming around.
Rusty, the air pressure low on these cars. How much do you have to tiptoe? Can you really push the car early on?
You can't push the car much, Jerry. You got to know its limits. You got to be really easy with the throttle off the corner, and don't use too much brake going into turn 3. You heard Kevin Harvick, Arena Race Reporter, saying that's the toughest part of the racetrack right there.
Folks, across the top of the screen, you'll see our normal ticker, which shows you how they're running in the race. Now, at the bottom of that, throughout the day, you'll be able to follow the chase and the points as the drivers move up and down in the top 12 of this race to the Nextel Cup Championship. You'll be able to see where they move in that top 12.
Still 3 wide.
You talk about tiptoeing. Look at the 16 car Greg Biffle really get out of shape right there. His car got real loose early on just because of those cold tires and low air pressures.
Still out there.
And you got to be really careful right now. Early on, second place right now. Martin Truex getting ready to overhaul Kurt Busch in the 2 car. Alan?
You know, Rusty, so many teams have talked about momentum for this 10-race stretch to the championship. Kurt Busch's team has just come off of 9 races where they won twice and have finished in the top 10 almost every week. Incredible momentum that vaulted them from being out of contention for the title to being in the chase group. As crew chief Pat Trice had told me this morning, we need 10 more weeks like the 9 we just had, and we can win this thing. Dave?
And right in front of him now, the 1 car of Martin Truex making that pass for second. What a better way for the 1 team to start than to have races at New Hampshire and Dover. 2 very good tracks for this team. Remember, earlier this year, he won at Dover. Here at New Hampshire in July, Martin Truex finished 3rd. It's a great way to begin for the 1 team.
Well, one fella you better take a look at right now is a 29 car, Kevin Harvick. He just went past Jimmy Johnson and pulled up in there. And his car, he told us earlier, you know, it's going to be loose. He's concerned about turn 3. But he did win this race last year, and he gets around this track real well. Looks like right now, it's marching to the front.
We just heard from his crew chief, Todd Barrier. He said they were going to be aggressive, and I really thought they meant on pit road, but it looks like Kevin's being pretty aggressive on the racetrack as well.
Kevin Harvick very frustrated about the fact that a lot of people thought he might not make it in the chase. A lot of people said, you know, you may slip down and Earnhardt Jr. may get by you, and that motivated his team. Guys, you doubted us. You really doubted. Now we're going to prove that we deserve to be here.
Yeah, he sounded a little bit testy here the last couple of races. Now, I think he's wanting to throw down on these guys and show what he's made of.
Well, I tell you, I talked to a lot of the drivers. A lot of them are a little bit snippy, a little bit arrogant, you know, because they're so focused. They want to do so well, and when you ask them a question, they're like, you know, somebody else already asked me that question. And we're like, it wasn't us.
Side-by-side battle here for the 9 and 96. Casey Kane, big announcement coming up on Tuesday. Sponsorship. 96, Tony Raines, who's done a great job in this car, will be replaced by J.J. Yaley in 2008. And Tony is not only driving for a win, he's driving possibly for a ride in 2008.
Yeah, I'm sad to see Tony Raines out of that car because he's done a good job and got that thing in the top 35 in points, which is very, very important right now.
And Tony's just one of those good guys you like to see do well.
Bobby Labonte, the 43 car, you saw him in the back of this mix. Tony Raines being shown in 24th position. Behind him is Casey Kane in 25th. There's the battle. Now is the 43 car. Bobby Labonte goes by Casey.
A lot of these guys are trying to feel their cars out because they didn't get a final practice, a race practice yesterday because of rain. So they're going to feel their cars out. They're going to get I think NASCAR's going to put the caution out at lap 35. They are going to put the caution out at 35. So these guys can look at their cars and check the tires out.
I'll take a look at Kurt Busch now underneath Martin Truex. Kind of gave him a little bump in the right rear, left rear quarter panel just then. Tell you, this 2 car, this is a car that can win this championship. He's won 2 races this year at Pocono and Michigan. I talked to the guys earlier. They said, Rusty, we got a fantastic car. You better be talking about us.
Kurt Busch won both events here in 2004, but he's had abysmal luck at this racetrack. He has finished 19th or worse in his last 4 trips in New Hampshire. He just can't catch a break. Now, here's a guy that's been awfully good here, and he's on the move, Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon is always good here. In fact, this race last year, the first race this year, he almost beat Denny Hamlin to the line. It was a drag race right to the line, and Gordon was pretty dominant throughout the day, so this doesn't surprise me how he's running right now. This Hendrick-led group's been strong.
He started about mid-pack there, I think around 18th spot, so he's trying to make up some spots early.
Look at the back. Whoa. These cars, they're really driving these cars deep in the corner. We saw it in qualifying and in practice how much smoke was coming off these tires as they entered the corner.
Here's a swap for second spot. Kurt Busch now getting by Martin Truex. But what's happening with these brakes is that these cars have such a high center of gravity. These guys are still trying to learn exactly where the limit is on that brake pedal.
And a lot of smoke coming off the front of the cars because of it. But look at Stewart underneath Truex right now. Truex looks like his handling is just a little loose off the corner, it looks like. And now you see Kevin Harvick sneaking in the picture.
Tony Stewart takes the 3rd spot away. Truex is 4th. Harvick now in 5th. As you watch that move, and not far behind Harvick, if you look out the back, you can see Jimmy Johnson creeping into the picture. More on Martin Truex with Dave.
That car right now, guys, just a little bit tight for Martin Truex. Crew Chief Bono Mannion reminding him that you have the brake bias, so you can adjust some of the brakes to the rear. That will loosen that car a little up in the center of the corner and on entry. And so if he does that, perhaps it will come to him just a little bit better. But right now, hard to turn through the corners.
It's a little bit tricky, though, when you start adjusting on that balance bar, because Carl Edwards wrecked his car in practice because he locked those rear wheels up. So it's a little bit tricky.
Gordon's got a good run off the bottom of the racetrack right now. His car's working really good down low. Got around 18 car J.J. Yeley, and now Jeff Burton running right behind him. But look how low that car is to the ground again, Andy. We've talked about it all year long. A lot of smoke off that 18 again.
NASCAR next door have their spotters watching the back of J.J. Yaley's car, number 18. He pulls right up in front. And how worried is Jeff Burton going to be about what could happen in the 18 car? He's right behind him. But no worries whatsoever for Burton's teammate. As Clint Bowyer being shown as the leader after 13 laps. It is Bowyer.
It's 5 points for Stewart leading the lap. And let's see now what these 2 tires are going to do. We got 2 tires on these the leaders up front. The first 2 cars. Got Clint Bowyer back there, the first car on 4 tires. This will be a good indication of how this is going to work.
You just can't tell you how important getting 5 bonus points are. You see Tony Stewart jump out front there. But as you said, Andy, the 07 car right now, he's got 4 tires on. The 3 cars in front of him got 2 tires on. I can't wait to see what's going to happen here.
Let's listen in to Clint Bowyer's radio.
Go ahead and get your mind right now. We don't have to drive this car no harder to get back to the front in a hurry. You're so much faster than everybody right now. You just keep the fenders on it. When you get back up through there, you're going to drive right on by them.
You can see there why a spotter is so important. He's just as much a coach for Clint Bowyer as a crew chief is up on top of the roof.
Yeah, but this is the very first time that the 07 car has really been stuck in traffic. He's had clear track almost all the time. So let's take a look at how this dirty air affects these cars in shorter tracks.
For more information information on team communications, log on to ESPN.com, search Word Communications. Oh, you're trying to make a move now inside of Newman for position.
And that's 4 tires in the 07 car of Clint Boyer versus Ryan Newman. Jamie?
Well, Rusty, you guys are talking about spotters, and Mike Dillon is the spotter for Clint Boyer, and usually Clint needs coaching. He wants to hear somebody talk to him every lap, every race. When he was leading this race, you didn't hear much chatter at all. Clint didn't say one word, but now that he's moved back a few spots, you're hearing Mike Dillon over the radio, and that's what we heard just a few moments ago.
Clear.
You know, I in my ear when I was driving the car, I like to hear a cheerleader. I like to hear my lap times, guys pumping me up, but I don't like to hear people tell me how to drive the car. Tell me where the leader's running. Is he running high or low? Don't be telling me let out the gas early, picked up the gas, stuff like that. That irritated me.
It seems like different drivers have different ways they want to hear from their spotters. Some guys actually want to hear that. They want to hear, hey, you're getting in the corner a little bit too deep, back off a little bit earlier. But, you know, when I was with Earnhardt, he didn't want to hear any of that stuff. He just wanted to hear where these cars were, how far behind he was, just like you, Rusty.
Now, I don't really know for sure, because you do, but I heard Earnhardt, he never said anything. Is that right?
He didn't like you talking.
99 of Carl Edwards, we documented the fact that he's had a pretty rough weekend. Lost his primary car due to a problem with the wheel hop and had to go to a backup car. In the first laps he got on the track with a backup car, he went out to qualify. What a job he did putting this car 11th on the starting grid.
And now he's driven the car up into the top 5. This team's done a great job of recovering.
Seems like every time he would get in the Busch Series and have to show up late for qualifying with no practice in that car, he jumped right in there and qualified very well. And he's pretty good with not having practice. He just gets up in that wheel, attacks it, and gets it done.
Are you saying practice is overrated?
No, I'm not saying that. I always love practice. Practice for me, I used every single lap.
Looking back at Jamie McMurray, who's having a great run here. McMurray now being shown in the 6th position. Let's run along with our Wrangler onboard telemetry.
These guys running over 100 miles an hour just off the corner. Going down the straightaways, getting to 150 plus. Allen?
Just talking about Carl Edwards. When all the cars are running about the same speed, how do you pass them? Do something that they didn't. So Carl Edwards' team was one of those that took just right side tires. They gained a few spots on pit road. They were running around 11th place just before the stop. You see they moved up now, trying to hold that track position. Carl reporting the front end grip on his car, lacking a little bit from what it was before that 2-tire change.
You know, take a look at the telemetry here, guys. 9,400 RPMs going at the corner. And they're not in the throttle much in the center. Take a look at this, down to about 5,300 RPMs. And folks, that's very low RPM. And they accelerate way up. Because the straightaways here are very, very long, they can do that.
DJ, I wanted to ask you about the rear wing on these race cars. We see it and we talk about it, but specifically on these short tracks, what exactly does that rear wing, what role does it play?
Well, basically, if you took the thing off, you'd find these guys driving down into the corner and probably spinning out. You think that looking at it, that it might not be that big of a deal, but it is creating downforce for you. As a driver, me looking in that mirror and seeing that wing versus the spoiler that we normally had, I don't feel as good about that wing personally, that's going to hold my car down and give me the downforce that I want to drive this car as hard. And that's what makes driving these cars so difficult. And you heard them talking about all running the same speed. I think that's the one thing that's difficult about these cars is that you just don't feel that you have that downforce to really rely on.
Dale, one thing I want to ask you, the rear wing sticking up in your rear window, can you see out of the back of that car clear versus a rear spoiler?
Now, great question, Rusty, and I'll tell you can't see out the back as good, and it's hard to pick up who that is you're racing that's come up behind you because obviously you race different people differently. And the other thing is, it's hard to see through these cars too. I'll attribute that to part of the reason that I got in an accident last week at Richmond with the car that we're looking at, Jamie McMurray right there. You can't see through these cars to see what's going on up ahead of you. You rely totally on your spotter. If something happens up there, a lot of times it's too late. So I think that has created some problems. It's made driving these cars much more difficult.
These cars are so big, you know, the greenhouse is so big, they have to get that wing stood up in the air just to make it work. They've got to get it up into the airstream. Here you can see that airstream coming over the 12 car, and if you don't have that wing high enough, you can see that it won't really catch enough air to make downforce. So it has to be up there pretty good.
You know, people say on a short track, downforce doesn't mean that much. Well, I'm here to tell you, on a short track, downforce is everything. You can pull up behind a car, get them very, very loose, or you can pull up behind them and lose your front end. So downforce, whether it's a fast track like Daytona or Talladega, or right here at New Hampshire, is everything.
I know a lot of people think aerodynamics are overrated in stock car racing, but I promise you it's not. It's one of the big elements.
Talk about downforce. The 07 looks like John Force. So he comes off that corner talking about Clint Boyer, and he has so much horsepower. He just drove by the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Clint Boyer trying to become the 4th first-time winner in 2007. He leads him down. And guys, the 3 drivers behind him that are chasing this hopeful first-time winner have combined for 7 NASCAR titles.
That's an incredible, you know, when you think about that, guys, that's just something. How strong the front 10 guys are in this field. They're just incredibly fast. And right now, you see Jeff Gordon getting some track position and running down the 07. Boyer putting all that smoke off a green scar. Man, just really locked the wheels up getting into turn 3 there.
Yeah, it looked like Jeff Green locked up the right front wheel getting in the corner, which is kind of unusual. Usually they lock up the left front. You see a lot of smoke off these cars, especially after restart.
66 car is Jeff Green. Had one of his best runs of the year back in the spring where he finished 6th. Behind him, the 78 car. Now looking back, that is Joe Nemechek.
Guys are getting really racy right now. The 42 car, Juan Pablo Montoya, is the first car a lap down, so he's trying to get his lap back.
There's Montoya leading in the Rebestos Rookie of the Year point standings by a slim 14 points over David Reagan, getting a challenge from David Rudiman.
And Rudiman knows now, Jerry, that he's a lap down. He's the guy who's got a race to get that lap back, and they're going to be driving their brains out because Rudiman's trying to get around Juan Pablo Montoya right now to get in a position.
00 car is Rudiman, and a lot of speculation as to where he will end up in 2008. Very promising young talent, and we're told that he wouldn't mind staying with Michael Waltrip in this Toyota team, but his phone's been ringing pretty aggressively the last week or so.
Yeah, I know there's some teams down in the garage area that are looking at David Rudiman. I think Richard Childress has got a seat open maybe in his 4th car. This might be a good guy to put in a car for Richard Childress.
I think a lot of people look how David Rudiman drives the car. He never tears the car up. He's fast. He works on his car. Very knowledgeable and liked by a lot of people.
Andy, you've been an owner and been a very good judge of young talent. Would you put David Rudiman in a car if you still had a car in competition?
Absolutely. This is the kind of guy you want. And he's a good bright young man. He's a good person to be around, and he's got a lot of talent. And you look at him week in and week out, he is probably the best Toyota driver that's on the racetrack. So definitely I would put David Rudiman in my car.
Hey guys, you talk about David Rudiman, and you know, I might be a little biased because I'm his teammate and I'm not his agent, but I'm telling Michael Waltrip and Ty Norris right now, they need to get this guy signed back up. He's got a lot of talent, and he's actually better than what his race car is right now. You know, he's a really talented race driver, and hopefully we can keep him at Michael Waltrip Racing because I think he can bring victories in a championship in years to come.
Well, Dale, they better start warming the pin up right now if they want to get rid of him because this guy, he's really, really good, and he's one of the untapped guys out there that nobody knows where he's going, and he's going to end up somewhere very, very good, and very, very shortly also.
Couple of chasers right there. The 5 car of Kyle Busch, and behind him Martin Truex. The 5 being shown in 8th position. Truex is 9th. Carl Edwards is right behind the 5th car, the lap car of Menard. There comes Carl in the 99 car. So 3 chasers being shown 8th, 9th, and 10th. Back up front, Clint Boyer having the kind of day that race drivers dream about. Only his 64th career start in a NASCAR Nextel Cup car. Take a look at our Ford lap leaders. Boyer has dominated, leading 116 laps.
Clear.
Welcome back to New Hampshire International Speedway. Lap 191, just 109 laps to go here in race number 1 of this 2007 NASCAR Nextel Cup chase to the championship. Our aerial coverage brought to you by the folks at Best Buy as you watch Clint Boyer Pulling away by about a half a second over Kyle Busch. Good run for Casey Mears back in third spot in the 25 car. Great run for Mears in front of his teammate Jeff Gordon. Tony Stewart rounding out the top 5.
Right now, David Rudiman's holding on, trying to get the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap, and he's got Johnny Sauter right behind him, racing him for that same position.
Still inside, still there.
There's a 0-0. Rudiman right behind Kyle Busch, and Rudiman is being shown in the 27th position as there are 26 cars on the lead lap. Couple of former champions battling fender to fender as Jeff Gordon will take that position away. That is the 4th spot. Then again, here comes Tony Stewart back on the inside. Not going to give it up that easy.
Well, Tony's not going to give up right now. Guys, you got to remember one thing. Going into the show, we talked about this is the most important race. These guys got to treat every single race now in this chase for the championship like it's the last one. And they're driving that way, too. They're driving hard.
Let's ride along with our Wrangler telemetry and watch what's going on with Tony Stewart's Chevys. He's battling side by side with Gordon.
And Gordon was pretty smart on that one. He just backed out of the throttle, kind of got behind him. But unfortunately, it left the 12 car, Ryan Newman, a non-chase contender, get up alongside of him. Jamie?
Well, Jeff Gordon, you're looking out on your screen there. He's been battling his car all day, all different conditions, saying he's loose sometimes and he's tight other times. But one thing that stands out, he said he has no drive off. Rusty, what exactly is he talking about?
No, he's just loose, Jamie. He's spinning the rear tires up off the corner as he picks the throttle up. He puts the accelerator to the floor and the rear tires just light up in smoke, and he's trying to get better grips so he can run faster down that straightaway. That's what he's talking about.
Hey guys, one thing that you fight with these COT cars is you're trying to make the cars turn in the center. You hear us say that all the time. So we want them to rotate a little bit better there. But in doing that, to make that happen a lot of times, you have to give up some forward bite. So there, you really have to strike a balance as to what you want to have. And right now at this place, it looks like forward bite off the corner is something these guys really want.
DJ, has this problem been around for a long time with the car tomorrow? This loose off the corner forward bite complaint we're hearing a lot of these drivers saying?
You know, Rusty, when we first started with these cars, I think everybody said, wow, the one issue that you don't have is forward bite. But the one thing that we had was the cars were so tight in the center. As some other guys have gone and made their cars turn better in the center, which rolls a little bit more speed through the center of the corner, you give up that forward bite. Now everybody's making them turn through the center, and everybody's complaining about they don't have forward bite.
You drivers, you want your cake and eat it too.
Oh,
you got to fix both of them.
That's what you crew chiefs make the big money for, guys.
Well, I'll tell you one guy's got plenty of forward bite, and he's moving forward in the field. And it's the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson. Dave.
And one of the things that gives them forward motion, Doc, is a good coach, and Chad Knaus has learned how to be a good coach for these guys. This week on Wednesday, he gave the guys the day off at the end of the day, closed the shop early, and he and the 24 crews went to the Whitewater Rafting Center near Charlotte, North Carolina. It was that kind of 10-man rafting where you do whatever the guide says together to get yourself through the Series 4 rapids that you go to. And if you don't do it, then you flip over and everybody falls out. So it was a good team-building exercise, and knew these guys needed a good blow before they got to the chase for the next Cup. It's paying off in speed.
It was that kind of leadership and understanding of people that allowed Chad Knaus and company to win this championship a year ago. As you watch the 20 car move by the 25, that is for position. Tony Stewart takes a third spot away. That's third, fourth, and fifth on your screen. And Stewart, Casey Mears, and Jeff Gordon. Now, of course, Jimmy Johnson won that championship in 2006, and we asked him, how tough is it to repeat and win 2 in a row?
It's such a long season, so difficult to win a championship, let alone back-to-back championships. I think the chase makes it more difficult to win a championship. After 26 races, you now have 12 guys within 50 points roughly of one another. So it's really, really tough to win a championship. And to repeat's even that much harder.
Last person to repeat is NASCAR Next Cup champion was his teammate, the guy he's battling with right there, Jeff Gordon, who won it in 1997 and 98.
The intensity level these teams have got to keep up over this 36 race NASCAR Next Cup Series is just incredible, like you said. Now, Andy, something like 20 straight that have been going on right now.
It seems like when you're the man like Jimmy Johnson is right now, there's a target on your back. I know we won the championship back-to-back in '93 and '94, and it is harder to win that championship that second time just for that reason. Everybody on the racetrack is shooting for you.
Less than a handful of laps now away from the pit stop on the 5 car. They rolled the dice. You heard Alan Bestwick tell you what they were trying to accomplish. They definitely wanted to be able to get a caution flag and hope they got one so they would not have to pit under green and lose time to that car, the 07 of Clint Boyer.
Getting right down to the nitty-gritty here on that too, so I'm sure this 5 car is running on fumes. They're really looking for a caution flag. Then if they have to pit under green, they're going to look for the green flag to stay out. They don't want the caution to come out.
He might be able to pull one thing off, but I don't think he can get 2 things to happen. That is cake and eat it too, that one, if that happens.
Kyle Busch, the youngest driver ever to win at New Hampshire back in July of 2006, won it here at the age of 21 years, 2 months, and 14 days. He rolled the dice that day, had a good car, made a pit strategy call late in the day, and ended up being in victory lane. Very, very close on fuel for Kyle Busch. Just a couple of laps away, and according to the calculations and the fuel window, I don't see anything in his tank.
Looks like he ought to be on pit road right now to me looking at that. But that's just about what we're calculating here, is that he should be out of fuel.
They say he's got to come this time.
This time, nice and smooth here, just nice and smooth. 4 tires of fuel, guys. Got to get it full. Got to get it full.
Looks like our fuel gauge is right anyway.
Battle for 3rd position. That's Gordon and Stewart. Here comes the 5 car, and you heard the command from Alan Gustafson. We have got to get it fuel. Rusty waving that left hand.
He's waving his left hand, telling everybody behind him, I'm coming in. Don't run over me. He's going to get it to the bottom of the track, then hit pit road, and got to be careful not to speed coming down pit road. That could really kill him if that happens.
Jumps on the brakes, gets down to 45 miles per hour. Very lonely. Down to you, Alan.
Going to be a 4-tire change for Kyle Busch, hoping for a speedy, smooth, efficient stop. You see the right side work, progressing. They'll come around the left side. Now what this team needs is for the caution to not wave until everybody else has come down pit road and made a stop. That's the only hope of saving their race right now. Jamie?
And you see Casey Mears into his pit box. He stayed out those last 2 cautions. So you guys know you're talking about running low on fuel. Casey Mears is running on fumes there. They're going to do 4 tires. No changes expected. They took a tear off that front windshield. And Casey Mears, that 25, is down and away in 14.3.
The 2 car of Kurt Busch now going a lap down. He will be listed in 27th position. Make that 26th position as the 07 car goes down.
Whoa! Clint Boyer gets loose off turn 4.
They just joined our coverage. The 2 car of Kurt Busch had complained that he had an engine that was sluggish. They've been on and off pit road under the caution. Changed the spark plug. Thought it might be a spark plug wire or a plug. And the car has just not gotten any better. He is running off the pace now. And now goes a lap down here to the leader with just 73 laps to go. New Hampshire, Clint Boyer continues to lead in pit stops, becoming the order of the day, the 17 car on pit road. Dave.
And Matt Kentz's car said it was really, really tough, Matt said, to turn it in the middle of the corner. Big wedge adjustment on the left side right there. A 4-tire stop finally for this guy who's made every chase so far, and a good recovery today with pit strategy early and a fast race car late. Jamie.
And Tony Stewart making his way down. 3/4 around a wedge, we're being told, for Tony Stewart. They're expected to take 4 tires. He gets the countdown into his pit box. Tony Stewart running solid all day. Hasn't quite gotten all the way to the front to lead some laps, though. And it's going to be 4 tires right side and left side for Tony Stewart. Let's go over to Alan Bestwick.
Championship chaser Carl Edwards just leaving his box after a 4-tire change and a check bar adjustment. His spotter, Bobby Hudson, imploring him, don't speed, don't speed. A mistake like that now when you have to come back down pit road could be really costly.
4 tires, fuel, 4 tires, fuel.
And Jeff Gordon pulls into his pit box. 4 tires. He's saying he is so tight. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. He said he was loose getting into 1 earlier. So they're expected, like I said, to take 4 tires. Minimal changes for Jeff Gordon. He's down. Let's go to Dave.
Kevin Harvick had to pit under the lap 188 caution when Dave Blaney spun. They changed 4 tires that time. Got the car quite good, but he had to restart 25th. Has been battling in traffic. Minor adjustments now to take Harvick to the end.
Speed in. Now, stay on the bottom. I'll bring you in on the
Kevin Harvick coming down pit road, and you hear these spotters all the time saying, please do not speed 45 miles an hour because you can ill afford to have to come back in. Speaking of coming in, here's Jeff Burton, Mike.
And over the last portion of that run, frustration was evident in Jeff Burton's voice. He's saying the car will not turn and the rear end just wants to slide out. A 4-tire change is expected on the 31 car as the team now swings to work on the left side and goes to service there, jacking it up and getting the car off the jack. We go to Jamie.
Clint Boyer, who has not been out of the top 5 all day, just dominated. 4 tires, no changes. Once again, that car continues to be stuck, and they're going to make those changes there on the tires, and Clint Boyer's down and away.
And Ryan Newman radioing in saying just too tight, 3 and 4. He called for the track bar adjustment. They took out 2 rounds.
Ryan Newman exiting. He has not won a race since 2 years ago here, 71 races ago. Had an awfully good car, has a good car today. The 1 car, Martin Truex Jr., who led 46 laps back in the spring, only to finish 3rd. Being shown our leader, the 1 comes down pit road and, whoa, tries to jam on the brakes to get that car woed down.
Do not speed, 4,600.
Martin Truex has had a real swing with this car. It went from the best it was to really tight, I cannot stand it, to pretty good right now. They stayed out to lead lap 238. Stayed out long enough to do that. 5 extra bonus points could be critical down the stretch here. 4-tire change for Truex. Going to be an air pressure adjustment. But again, he likes the car from here, and he leaves pit road.
Great pit work, 13.2 seconds for Truex's crew as he makes his final stop.
Well, guys, we thought that maybe the 5 car, Kyle Busch, the pit strategy might not have worked, but right now he's in good shape. He's running 11th right now. He's on the lead lap. Gustafson's made a good call, and so 5 cars back in the hunt right now, and no problem there, Andy.
Yeah, the circumstances definitely worked out for him. Alan?
Still got to finish up this cycle of green flag stops for that all to come to complete fruition. Rusty, here is David Reagan, the rookie who had his career best finish a race to go at Richmond Inn. He started 38th today. He moved up into the top 20 in this race. A 4-tire change here for the young driver from Georgia.
Tony Raines in for what should be his final stop. Great effort for Tony today, trying to get a ride for 2008. J.J. Yaley will jump in this car, which will be a Toyota next year. Tony said that car in the top 15 for much of the afternoon. And how about Reed Sorensen? He was running 3rd when he had that spin about 70 laps ago. Has led 3 laps today.
This team seems to get real good gas mileage, so they're trying to use it to their advantage. Leaving Reed out here and maybe getting a caution, he could catch a few of these guys down a lap.
Yeah, Reed's been doing a really good job driving that car. Won that Busch race earlier in the year on the front row for the Brickyard 400. Had a good 5th place finish there, I remember that day. And I believe what happened there is what got him re-signed with Chip Ganassi Racing. So the kids really coming on and doing a good job.
Working over A.J. Allmendinger pretty good here. See, Matt Kenseth now, he's down a lap to this 41. He wants to get by him to get back on the lead lap.
Kenseth being shown in 14th position. There are 13 cars on the lead lap unless Kenseth can make the pass. Kenseth has the fresh tire. Sorensen still hasn't made his pit stop. Dave.
And Doc, they plan to pit in about 2 laps. You mentioned the spin that he had. He had raced back up to the 14th position, made a great recovery for these guys. Right now, Reed just complaining a little bit loose going into the corner, tight coming off the corner, but a great recovery. And from the July race, when failed bump stops actually caused them to have to change a right front shock, and they had to give up all their track positions. So they've run well here this year, much better today than in July.
And these guys have to put a bump stop. We hear that a lot. What that is that's something on the shock to keep this front splitter or the front of the car from hitting the racetrack. they put this stop on there to stop the suspension travel.
The little plastic sleeves, like you said, Andy, the bump stops, and they can actually change those on a pit stop. They can come down pit road and change them. And in fact, we heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. earlier in the race commenting that they did that.
And the brake heat has been kind of causing problems with those things, causing them to fail on some cars, and that's what happened to this car the last race up here.
Side-by-side action, the 17 car of Matt Kenseth. Talk about comebacks. He qualified 30th and languished back in about 25th to 28th in the first third of this race, and then has been slowly and steadily moving his way toward the top 5.
Yeah, his lap times are pretty good too. Currently he's in the 7th position. Like you said, Jerry, started in the back of the pack, and this is something that's pretty common for this team to have happen. Dave?
And Rusty, talking with crew chief Robbie Reiser this morning, he told me we're not in a position to win a championship. I don't want to sugarcoat it. We haven't run well in anything. We're just trying to get our cars to run decent. And I think they've accomplished that today. They used a 2-tire stop early to get up track, as you guys mentioned that. But they've really done a good job of dialing that car in to be fast. And that's what they've been lacking heading into the chase.
Getting a top 10 finish here today would be a big step for these guys, because this was one race that they were not looking at as being one of those they could capitalize on.
48 in one car, couple of Chevys side by side. Jimmy Johnson, reigning Cup champion and points leader, coming in. Martin Truex trying to take the spot away. That is the 5th position.
And he does that on the bottom of the racetrack, and now the 48 is trying to get him back on the outside, but just can't get it done. And a lot of teams are looking at the one car of Martin Truex coming into this race, especially his teammate, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Martin was so strong here the first race.
Yeah, Truex led 46 laps back in the spring and finished 3rd. But here is the guy that just had a remarkable day, the 07 of Clint Bowyer. Jamie.
And Doc, he's remained cool, calm, and collected all race long up until about 10 laps ago, and that pressure is starting to mount.
You got to time it. Back the corner up, beat him up off, get him in a straightaway. You can't beat him underneath him. I'm telling you, Dylan, I way too tight. Working on him, man. You'll be all right. There you go. Now get your mind back together.
And Clint Bowyer yelling about his car being tight. As you heard Andy Petrie say a few moments ago, they haven't made an adjustment on this car all day long, but the temperatures are coming down, the car's starting to get tight, and the pressure is mounting as Clint Bowyer looks to take home his first ever NASCAR Nextel Cup victory. Doc?
You can tell that Clint is just so close to winning his first race. He's a little bit frustrated, really up on the wheel, paying a lot of attention, but he can say all that stuff, guys, but he can't come down pit road and fix it. It's only 19 to go.
Do you remember what you felt like when you were in his shoes and you were just laps away from winning your first big race here in NASCAR Cup?
No, absolutely, Jerry. It's just gut-wrenching. It's really hard on you, and you're hearing things that are going wrong with a car that really aren't going wrong.
Got Gordon hung in traffic right here, which is a big-time advantage for Clint Bowyer.
Yeah, that really helps Clint Bowyer with the 24 being hung in traffic right now. But Clint's got a pretty good lead. He's just got to hit every single point on the racetrack perfect. And don't get distracted and stay focused.
7 car of Robbie Gordon, who was having a pretty good run slowing. It's like part of a piece of a brake duct or something, just wavering underneath the car, but he just slowed down. Here was just 17 laps ago. Robbie, by the way, a former winner here at New Hampshire. And here's the 19 car. It's been on and off pit road a couple of times. Alan?
Changing a battery. Doc, electrical troubles for Elliott Sadler. He tried to ride it out to the finish. This came up about 15, 17 laps ago. Couldn't make it. Just started to lose power.
And you can see that car really starting to slow, Alan. He's just getting passed by every single car out there. And Andy, you well know, you've had your drivers call you and tell you, hey, it's missing. And they said, look at the amp gauge on the dashboard, and it said 0. You know right away what the problem is.
And batteries are hard to change on the pit stop.
Looking back from Kevin Harvick's car. Now, it was Kevin Harvick who had the run a year ago in this race. Harvick led 196 laps to win. Today, it's his teammate. That guy's closing in, Clint Bowyer. That has led 206 laps thus far.
Well, right now with 16 laps to go, Kevin can't do much. He's working his brains out to try to stay in that lead lap, but he doesn't want to hurt Clint Bowyer either in this attempt, because this is going to be his first win if he can pull this thing off this year.
Each of these guys are running their own race. They all both want to do the best they can. But like you said, Clint Boyer.
And this has got to be a tough one on Richard Childress right now, watching this. He feels for both of them, and now Clint gets by. He's clear sail, and that was a smart thing to do out of Kevin. It really helped him.
Harvick just gave it to him. He wants to see this guy run good, too, and get a win.
All over the front stretch.
That was the perfect point when Richard Childress stands up and then sits back down.
Jeff Gordon still in pretty heavy traffic. Here's a lap for clicking away. There's Gordon in the 24 car inside of David Reagan. The third place car is Tony Stewart.
Right now, the 24 car of Jeff Gordon's about a half a straightaway behind Clint Boyer. And Boyer's got a really clean run in front of him. No traffic in front of him right now. Probably about 45 cars before he catches the next car, Clint Boyer.
Tony Stewart now trying to work in behind the 66 of Jeff Green. Stewart in third position.
Stewart gets loose getting in the corner right there. A little arrow loose. The 01 got on his bumper, made it dance around. But Tony got away from him.
Whoa, a little bit loose there again as the 01 you see right in front of Tony Raines. Now the fourth place car is Kyle Busch.
Kyle's had a solid car throughout the day. A little scared in the pit strategy early on, but that paid out for him. And his lap times have been right up there with the leaders, you know, very, very close throughout the day. And it's just all about track position right now. Who can get close to Clint Boyer, if anybody?
Back in sixth position, we talked about the car that had the great run here in the spring. Out of Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, that would be the one of Martin Truex Jr. We asked Martin, why didn't you bring the car back that you ran so well with in spring and led all those laps and finished third? He said, that was the car we won with at Dover. We're saving it for next week when we go to Dover, Delaware.
And you know, these guys, from the first race to the second race, the setups really change a lot, don't they? Learn so much, it seems like.
Especially with a new car like this, it seems like this learning curve is pretty steep. So these guys are learning something every week that's helping these cars. So just because you had a good car here the last race doesn't mean that you'll have a good car the next time.
So is it pretty safe to say that the setup they ran the first race is not like the second race?
It'll probably be different.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, and we had some sad news that Jimmy Johnson, one of his close friends, and certainly an individual we're all familiar with, Colin McRae, lost his life in a helicopter crash yesterday in Scotland. The crash killed 4 people, including, Colin, the former World Rally Car champion. With him were his 5-year-old son, Johnny, family friends Graham Duncan, and a 6-year-old Ben Porcelli. So a very tough news for all of us who have followed Colin McRae's career over the years, and we saw him with that performance at the X Games this year, and a terrible tragedy for the motorsports community yesterday in Scotland with that helicopter crash. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the McRae family and their friends. 17 car of Matt Kenseth. Now all 7 of the top 7 cars are chase contenders, so the cream does indeed rise to the top here as we are inside of 10 laps to go, and the top 7 are all the drivers who are battling for the Nextel Cup title.
This is one team that always does seem to do that. Matt Kenseth's style is to show up at the end of the race, get the best finish. This team doesn't beat themselves either. That's the key thing.
Well, there's one thing for sure. Everybody in this field wants a caution right now, except for the 07. He doesn't need it. He's got a big lead. And you talk about
sort of vibration above corner. 10-4, you're fine.
That's exactly what happens for a driver who's going to win. He's feeling everything with this car, a vibration off the corner.
NASCAR really is about fulfilling the American dream. Remember, Rusty Wallace came from the Missouri, from a family who worked very hard with a couple of small-town businesses and became a champion. Clint Boyer came from the Midwest, from Emporia, Kansas. Grew up driving, slipping and sliding sideways on the dirt track. Clint says his biggest career moment was when a few years ago, as a huge Elvis Presley fan, he got a chance to meet Lisa Marie. He said, that is my career highlight until I get my first win. And guess what, Lisa Marie, you may go move to second because he's 6 laps away from winning his first NASCAR Nextel Cup race.
Well, I think the band Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, weren't those the guys?
Slow down some.
Weren't those the guys that picked him to win this race? That's something they can say they did and predicted if it happens.
We just heard Mike Dillon, the spotter, say Harvick said slow down some. I think Kevin's trying to give him a little advice here so he doesn't get too excited trying to win this first race.
You have all day, buddy.
You don't need to pass nobody. Nobody's catching us. 77.
There's Kevin Harvick, his teammate, being shown back in 17th spot. He's the first car a lap down.
Clint Bowyer's got a 6-second lead. He doesn't need to make a mistake here trying to go too fast. And that's what Kevin Harvick's trying to give him, that little bit of advice.
And right now, if Clint Bowyer can hold on and win this race, he's went from 12th in the points all the way up to 4th right now. His teammate Kevin Harvick's holding in 10th position right now in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship.
Clint Bowyer has led more laps today in one race than he has in his entire 63-race NASCAR Nextel Cup Series career. What a day for Clint Bowyer.
And what a time to do it here. Starting to chase off. He kind of snuck in there, but now he's just said, now I'm going to be one of the guys to beat.
Richard Childers has really done a lot of work on this car tomorrow, a lot of research and development, a lot of testing, but this team here, the 48 that Jimmy Johnson has also. And Jimmy was so dominant last week at Richmond, I thought we'd see the same thing out of him again, but another strong finish, or another strong run out of Johnson, running 6th right now.
Be 2 laps to go next time by. Clint Bowyer, who grew up in Kansas, in central Kansas, said he was a huge college basketball fan. He loved the Kansas Jayhawks. He loved the National Football League. A huge Kansas City Chiefs fan. Said, someday as a kid I dreamed of being on that pedestal, being in the major leagues. You don't get much more major than NASCAR Nextel Cup stock car racing. And here's a young man that's 1 lap away, a lap and a half away from realizing a dream.
Well, if he can win this thing, he's going to be a huge New Hampshire Speedway fan also, because a lot of drivers like running this racetrack. It's very challenging, but right now Clint Bowyer's mastering it.
The next car is to our back. Just stay right there.
Yeah, Mike Dillon doesn't want him to get in trouble here with this lap traffic on the last lap.
Yeah, do not pass him. That's about the only time you hear a spotter say, don't pass somebody. Just stay there. And Clint needs to do that.
Clint Bowyer, 28 years of age, realizing a dream. His 64th career start. He is 2 turns away from that first Cup victory. Total jubilation, celebration. Clint Bowyer, you can imagine what's happening in downtown Emporia, Kansas right now, because, folks, you talk about a great effort today. Clint Bowyer dominated and led 6 times for 222 laps, and Gil Martin and the entire crew down there for Richard Childress celebrating.
Well, take a look at this. We've always said if you're going to win the chase for the championship, we really feel like you need to win. And guess what? This guy's in there. He's won.
There's Jeff Burton, his teammate, pulling up beside of him. It's too bad that Richard Childress couldn't be here to see this. He's in Mongolia hunting.
I thought he was down there standing up. Standing up in Mongolia, maybe. Okay.
Kevin Harvick comes by to congratulate his teammate, as does Jeff Burton. And now the run begins. Race number 1 in the chase, and Clint Bowyer becomes the 4th first-time winner.
That's good. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Mike Dillon still a spot.
Keep it going, baby.
First time he's here, and he's here without his car. So, Clint, what happened out there? Did you blow it up or what?
I don't know. It wouldn't start. I think I was a little hard on it in the burnout, but it don't matter. It was an unbelievable job. Hats off to Gil and everybody. I knew we could do it. You know, Jack Daniels Chevrolet was fast. I just want to thank everybody, DirecTV, Chevrolet, everybody that helps us. Camping World. It's just an unbelievable day.
Clint, yesterday I asked you what sets you apart from the other chasers, and you said, I'm the only one without a victory. How did you overcome the pressure of your first chase, not finishing well here in the past, to bring home victory and dominate like you did?
I'm not going to kid you. I was about to throw up those last 30 laps, but it's unbelievable. I'm just so proud of these guys. And Ford, back home, we took 2 tires for you. That's Gil's boy. He'd be proud of us, but just proud of everybody. Wish Richard would have been here. He's in Mongolia. I'm sure he's partying now.
Clint, what does this say for all the naysayers that are like, how did Clint Bowyer get in the chase and he hasn't won yet? When is he going to win? What does this have to say to them and your competition for the rest of the chase?
Well, hopefully it just proves that we earned a spot here and we're here for a reason, and just so happy to be a part of the chase. It's such a neat deal, and hey, this is the Nextel Cup, baby.
Clint, I have Dusty, those last few laps, how many different things were you coming up with in your mind that could have possibly gone wrong with your car?
Yeah, what's funny was I was starting to feel a vibration up off the corners, but I don't know what it was. It's just, you know, you hear every rattle, squeak, bang in that thing, and everybody racing. I was watching up ahead, making sure. I was hoping, praying that nobody had crashed. So thankfully, caution didn't come, and we kept it out front.
What a big day. Clint Boyer in victory lane for the first time for his first Nextel Cup victory.